area where I think OpenAI had a good week is in this red hot area of cyber. Obviously, Anthropic made a huge splash with Mythos. It hasn't been commercially released. They're compute constrained, but as a proof of concept or training model, it hit a new level of capabilities with cyber. But now OpenAI has released a new model called GPT 5.5 Cyber, which has just been through a bunch of tests, and they've shown, this was testing done by the AI Security Institute, that GPT 5.5 is the second model to complete one of their multi-step cyber attack simulations end-to-end. So it has the same level of capability as Mythos, and it does appear to be commercially ready. They've got the compute to serve it. So I do think that that's a big accomplishment. I mean, look, we knew that other cyber models were coming. It wasn't just going to be Mythos. In fact, within 6 months or so, all the frontier models are going to have Mythos level cyber capability. But it's impressive that OpenAI got this GPT 5.5 cyber out so quickly. And I think 5.5 might be the first cyber model that cyber defenders actually get to use. Because again, I don't think they're as compute constrained as Anthropic is.
And this is an incredible opportunity, for the CrowdStrikes and Palo Alto networks of the world, both of which have been on the program. They come out and they start attacking this space. Man, you could really see everything get tightened up. And this could be an incredible revenue stream for everybody who's got, whether it's Cursor, Claude, or OpenAI or Gemini. This is an amazing opportunity to tighten up as much as it is to get attacked.
Can I make a point about that? Because look, there is so much fear right now, almost a level of panic about Mythos. People are treating it like a doomsday weapon or something like that. It's not. It's simply that the frontier models have reached the point where they're capable of automating cyber activities, just like they're capable of automating coding. But that means that a model could power up a cyber attacker or cyber defender the same way they can power up a coder and allow them to discover a lot more vulnerabilities. So there is obviously a risk there, but I think it's important to understand that Mythos or GPT 5.5, it doesn't create the vulnerabilities. It just discovers them. The bugs were already in the code. They were sitting there waiting for some hacker to discover. If we can now use AI to find these bugs in advance, these vulnerabilities, and patch them, then you actually harden our infrastructure and you harden our security. I also believe that this leap from, let's call it pre-AI cyber to post-AI cyber, it's going to be, I think, a big one-time upgrade cycle because, again, you're going to find all these dormant bugs and vulnerabilities. But I think that once we get past that upgrade cycle, you're going to reach a new equilibrium between AI-powered cyber offense and AI-powered cyber defense. It's going to become a lot more normal. It's not going to feel like this huge disruption, which is to say, I think, people are treating this is like some existential threat. I don't think it is, as long as everyone does what they're supposed to do, which is use the new capabilities to harden their code bases and infrastructure and security before the hackers get a hold of these capabilities.
Yeah, and if you were to look at this to build on Sachs's point, there are about 5 million or so security experts in the world. And we talked about token cost, 40 hours of tokens, just pounding it, a week. You could create another 5 million for $100 per chief security officer per security expert. So it's the volume of security expert agent Sachs, to your point. Yeah, you could have 50 million of them, 100 million of them. They're not finding something unique. Also, they're just, they never sleep. They're relentless in their pursuit of these problems. It's a really great point.
To kind of just refine that. So there's probably 5 million people in the cyber industry, but there's probably only a few thousand really elite hackers.
Sure.
Those hackers didn't have the time to go after the entire surface area of every possible attack vector out there. And so if you train a model to do what they do, obviously, like you said, it can operate with a scale and speed that a human hacker can't. So obviously, what you need to do is get these tools in the hands of the white hats, let them do the cyber attacks themselves to then find the vulnerabilities and patch them before the black hats get a hold of these capabilities. But I think it's just one last point on this, and I'll stop. It's really important to understand that the Chinese models are going to have these capabilities within approximately 6 months.
Oh, they have them now in DeepSeek 4 for sure. They've got some level.
Well, DeepSeek 4, DeepSeek 4 is impressive in a lot of ways, but its capability is not at the frontier. It's maybe 85% of, let's call it the American frontier.
Chamath, you wanted to get in on this. Let's get Chamath in.
Two things. The reason that this is even possible is because humans are error prone. And when humans code, they create holes. And so humans exploiting humans is where we've been for a long time. Now we have computers exploiting humans because the computers go and seek out all these bugs that humans wrote. In the next phase, it'll be machines versus machines. And so I think the nature of cyber is going to completely change. Probably in the next 5 or 6 years, there'll be so much reason to rewrite all of the software that runs the world. In one part, because you're going to be asked to show more operating leverage and revenue growth. But in another part, because everything else that was handmade in the past is just fundamentally insecure. Either way, all roads will lead to all the operational software that runs the world will get rewritten. More and more of it will be written by machines. More and more of it will be impregnable as a result. But then the cyber threat actually will only increase, because then you're going to try to figure out how to use a machine to inject something into another machine so that some agentic loop injects some malware or injects a bad token. And I think that's a very complicated thing. What I will tell you is, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this, but a very good, probably the best cybersecurity company in the world, run by one of the very best CEOs in the world, who may or may not be speaking at Liquidity, would tell you that they have penetrated and can essentially manipulate every model. Let me just say it roughly that way.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and at the Breakthrough Prize, which 3 of the 4 of us were at, I talked to George Kurtz. The other person you were kind of describing was not that person.
I was sitting beside Nikesh. Yeah, I'm talking about Nikesh.
Well, Nikesh and George are the 2 guys leading this, Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, and they understand, what George told me was there is just a line out the door of people who want this product or service. And if you look at it, Freeberg, like the murder rate, like we're sitting here with the lowest murder rate in the history of humanity. It has gone down massively in our lifetimes, but massively over the arc of history. I think that's what's going to happen with cyber. There is only so many attack vectors, and the remaining attack vectors are just going to be human factors, right? Freeberg, that's always been the case. And as we make the software more resilient, then the weak link is, the secretary who puts her Post-it note, with the password there, or the accountant who, uses their dog's name plus 123 for their password, right? That's the historical one. Okay, anything you want to add, Freeberg, as we wrap there? Oh, that's fine.
Why is your bed so messy, by the way? Why can't you just ask the room service to come in and clean your bed?
I can tell you what happened. Listen, I'm here in Atlanta.
And also, why don't you have a suite like where there's 2 rooms? Like, is it just one room? This hotel only has one room.
It is just one room. It is.
Either you're cheap or poor. Which one is it?
I'm cheap. I'll tell you what, here's the situation. I'm in Atlanta for the Knicks game tonight.
You're in one room.
Here's what I do. I just want to explain to you value for value. Some people spend their money on private jets and they spend $30,000 flying to Atlanta. I spend $30,000 on courtside seats. I don't want the suite. I want to put it into the seats.
Why don't you do both?
Courtside.
You can do both.
I guess I could do both too. I'm in the process of becoming.
I don't understand.
Of embracing my richness. Okay.
If you've already convinced yourself that you should spend $30,000 for courtside tickets, which I think is outrageous. But you've already convinced yourself.
They're more like $10K each, but yeah.
A hotel room that has 2 rooms, okay,
I'm taking
probably costs 15% more than what you're paying.
It's 2x, but yes, you're right. I'll get the hotel room.
Okay, or 20% more, but it just looks so sloppy.
Like $200 a night? So you pay $400 a night. You get another room.
I mean, it's Atlanta. I'm in the best hotel. The most expensive hotel is $500 a night in Atlanta. It's no big deal. But everything's sold out because all the Knicks people are coming.
So you're telling me double that would have been $1,000, and you couldn't spend $1,000?
Everything is sold out because the Knicks are here.
So we have to look at your dirty bed.
It's gross.
The bed's not that dirty. Come on. Okay, just deal with it, okay? We'll just take it out in post.